Hey, Shalom, Most High Christ bless. Can y'all hear and see me? Can you hear and see me? Give me a second. Might be buffering real bad. Let me see if there's any better. A second ago, I was buffering real bad. All right, how we looking now? We all right? Are we buffering? Yeah, I'm looking at the video. Looks like I'm buffering real bad. Let me start it over. Sorry, y'all. Got some new camera. That would be better. All right, I'm gonna go with it as is. Sorry, been about 15 minutes. I think this might have fixed it. Can you give me a second? I'm just got a bad delay. Let me see if this fixed it. Yeah, here we go. That's better. Awesome. All praises. Hey, Shalom, I'm Officer Ray well, and clearly I need more work at camera management. IUIC Raleigh got history in the AM. We're gonna be going back into Absalom. I talked about this I think earlier in the week, and how the Lord works. I got another opportunity to deal with kind of a part two There's multiple parts. I don't want to like go through it really quickly. So today's class is called Absalom's Conspiracy When Sons Betray Fathers. All right. Just checking, make sure the video's straight. It's still a little jumpy. Yeah, it's a little jumpy. Let me see something. Give me 1 sec. Last time I fooled with it. All right. Last time I messed with it. Cool. So, hey, it'll get better next time. So we're going to start off. I'm going to show an image from the last. I'll do kind of a recap from the last class. So Absalom is son of David, one of David's many sons. Absalom was black. David's black. The Jews were black. When you look up Absalom, however, my picture's all messed up. You're going to get images like this. That's just crazy. So Absalom gets his hair caught in a tree. That's how the man perishes. And when you Google Absalom, you're going to get a white person. And that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. It doesn't make any sense. There's another picture as well. Give me a sec. This was kind of stretched. See if I can't unstretch it. There we go. They'll show you this guy. And the guy's Absalom. I was like, no, there are no pale people back then. That's not what happened. That's not how it went down. That's not of the Lord. It's not of the Lord at all. Give me a sec. Yep, let's mess with the camera one more time. So, that's not Absalom. I'm going to show you some images. This is a little more like what it would be like to see Absalom. He was a handsome man because he looked like his father, King David. All right. He had a lot of hair, a lot of woolly hair. Give me another image. Another couple of images. Get this into your minds. Absalom would have had long, heavy hair. Last class I covered 200 shekels in weight. Absalom's hair. Let me get that scripture real quick. 2 Samuel. Chapter 14, in verse 25. It says, "But in all Israel there was none to be so much praised as Absalom for his beauty. From the sole of his foot even to the crown of his head there was no blemish in him. And when he polled his head, for it was at every year's end that he polled it," so he cut it every year, "because the hair was heavy on him, therefore he polled it. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight." So, heavy hair, long hair. When you read verse 25, it tells you he was beautiful. It's just like David, his father. I'm going to 1 Samuel 16 and 12. Just a real brief recap just so you get the imagery. 1 Samuel 16 and 12. It says, this is about King David. It says, "And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he." So he says that he was ruddy. And then some of the definitions of ruddy I pulled up. Ruddy means brown. Ruddy means a beautiful countenance. I'll get just one of them. Let me get one of them. Not that one. In fact, the one I like the most came from a different Bible, the Great Bible, 1539. It's the same scripture I just read describing David. It says, and this is still 1 Samuel 16 and 12, but it's in a Bible called the Great Bible from the 1500s. And it says, and he sent and brought him in, and he was brown with goodly eyes and well favored in sight. So he says David was brown. David was brown, so then his sons looked like him. Go to first Song of Solomon 1 and 5. King Solomon is the half brother of Absalom. Also a beautiful black man like King David was. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1, it says, the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Verse 5 says, I am black but comely. So I'm dark, I'm brown, and I'm beautiful. Same thing. It's the exact same thing. Because these all David's children. That's what they look like. So, back to Absalom. He was a black man, handsome dude. Now, that's going to play a part in today's class. Because when you have that level of look to you, you can also draw followers after you. And it's not even about your attributes as a leader. They'll just follow you because you're good looking. Or they'll just follow you because you talk a certain kind of way. Let me go to Sirach real quick. Sirach 11 in the Apocrypha. In fact, give me a second to make sure. Sorry about the technical issues. I forgot to post the link. Give me a sec. Make sure that scribe on. All right, Sirach 11 in verse 2. It says, commend not a man for his beauty, neither abhor a man for his outward appearance. So don't go off looks. It says, the bee is little among such as fly, but her fruit is chief of sweet things. So a bee doesn't look like much, but it has the best fruit, meaning that honey is the best out of all sweet things. It says, verse 4, boast not of thy clothing and raiment, your outward adorning. It says, and exalt not thyself in the day of honor. This is what this man has done. Absalom, son of King David, he exalted himself. We're going to read about that today. And for the works of the Lord are wonderful, and his works among men are hidden. It says, many kings have sat down upon the ground. So it says, there have been kings that have been dethroned. They look good. They had the kingly apparel. They had the look. And they've sat down on the ground. You read about Nebuchadnezzar. I'm sure he was, he was a heathen. I'm sure he had the look, but the Lord brought him to a low estate. Same with many of his kings of northern and southern kingdom. Though they were high in honor, they were brought down and put into captivity. It says, verse 5, many kings have sat down upon the ground, and one that was never thought of have worn the crown. Like, for example, King David. King David. And that's pretty much what we just read. We're going back to 1 Samuel real quick. That's what we just read. That's him being chosen. It says 1 Samuel 16 in verse 12 again. It says, and he sent and brought him. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look to. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. So he had to tell him, hey, listen, this is the guy. You brought all these other sons in front of me. All the sons of Jesse. There were 7 of them. And then read verse 10. It says, again, Jesse made 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel the prophet. And Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord have not chosen these. And I'm sure all those brothers were probably handsome like David, but probably tall, older, might have been battle worn. But guys, none of these. Go give me the little guy over here. Give me the kid. Go give me the young man, who was obviously very youthful looking, to the point where it's like, most people be like, no, he can't be king. He can't be over anything. He's not a threat. He doesn't have the traditional kingly look. He looks he's too handsome. He's too much of a pretty boy. All right. So that's a little brief recap. So he was ready. Oh, matter of fact. Yeah. So 1 Samuel 15 and 1. Or 2 Samuel, rather. 2 Samuel 15, verse 1. Picking up where I left off from. Before we dealt with Absalom's birth, his sister Tamar's rape at the hand of his other brother Amnon. That was incest. And he had his brother put to death. Absalom did. Absalom had his brother put to death for the rape of his sister Tamar. After that, Absalom fled and went into hiding. But then King David was persuaded to retrieve him from his hiding place and bring him back to the kingdom. And he didn't want to really be here. But now we're picking up from there. 2 Samuel chapter 15, verse 1. And it reads, And it came to pass after this that Absalom prepared him chariots and horses and 50 men to run before him. So Absalom gathered a great... Let me put that stuff again. Some of this imagery. So he's gathering people together unto him. A great number of people. Verse 2. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man have a controversy came to the king for judgment, then Absalom called unto him and said, Of what city art thou? And he said, Thy servant is one of the tribes of Israel. So the gates are the leaders. I'm going to get a couple precepts on that real quick. Proverbs 31. To 23. And it reads, Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. So the gates are the elders of the land. He says, her husband is known in the gates. So that's sisters that are virtuous. They have a husband that's known. He's known for judgment. He's known for justice. He's not just out here selling dope or playing video games. He's about this work. All right. And he's an honorable person if she's a virtuous woman. Now I'm going to Deuteronomy 16:18. Watch this. More about those gates. This is where Absalom put himself. He was not put there. He put himself there. Deuteronomy 16:18. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee. So that's who would be at the gates. Judges and officers. Watch this. It says, throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. Those officers, those judges shall judge the people with what? Just judgment. Now, if you read that, you can tell that's talking about the same people judging their own people. That makes sense. You get just judgment if you judge your own people. But what are we? We are slaves. We hate to be checked and corrected. So since we hated our people judging us, we're delivered into whose court system? Whose Congress? Whose government? Esau's, the so-called white man. Now, he judges you with unjust judgment. I'm going to Habakkuk real quick. Habakkuk 1:4. In fact, I'm going to go to Amos first. Let's go to Amos first, 5 and 10. The book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 10. This is more on the gates. It says, they hate him that rebuketh in the gate. So those people, those judges and officers that are in your gates, the people hate them. Because we don't like to be told what to do. We are stubborn, rebellious people. So you got people in the gates that rebuke you for iniquity and sin. You don't want nothing to do with them. It says, they hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. That's our people. We hate those that speak upright. Now watch this. I'm going to go back to Deuteronomy 16. I haven't forgot about Habakkuk. We'll get that in a sec. Deuteronomy 16:18. One more time. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, throughout thy tribes. And they shall judge the people with just judgment. Now watch this. It says, thou shalt not wrest judgment. Wrest means to twist. You shall not twist judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons. That means you should not treat one person better than the other based on judgment. Because this person can get away with murder and this person can't. You cannot do that. You are not God. You should judge everything with equity. Everything should be judged the same. So it says, don't respect persons, neither take a gift. So don't receive gifts. Monetary, positional, you know what I'm saying? Any kind of gift. There's some gifts that ain't either of those. Sexual gifts. It says, for a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. So you got to watch out for that. Now watch this. Now I go to Habakkuk 1 and 4. It says, therefore, the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. Now this is future. This is past where we was reading with David. Now that this is Habakkuk talking about after we've fallen and went into Babylonian captivity. The law is slacked. It says, and judgment doth never go forth. It said there are things that people get away with, like Esau. White supremacy has been going on for over 400 years. Way over 400 years. Probably close to 500 now. Since the 1400s to 1300s, we've been enslaved to these people. There's been no justice, no judgment for the enslavement of God's chosen people. It says, for the wicked doth compass about the righteous. The wicked outnumber the righteous and surround them at every side. They control power, the wicked. Therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. Therefore, because we're given into the hands of other nations, the white man and wherever you find yourself. Some of you on the islands, you got Elam that's in powerful positions. You're in Honduras, you got a guy, I believe he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's Arab. Some Arab guy over there ruling over you. Benjamin, you got like I said, you got East Indians among you. In Haiti, you got the French. And then they don't judge you with just judgment. I believe it's Haiti. You get freedom from slavery, and you have to pay restitution to your captors. You have to pay them reparations. What the hell kind of just judgment is that? What is that? It says, behold ye, verse 5, behold ye among the heathen and regard and wonder marvelously. Because that's where we would be. We found among the heathen. I'm going to drop down. I'm going to come back later. Let's go back to Amos. Then I'm going to go back to Sirach. We're talking about Absalom being in the gate. And he's intercepting people on their way to the king. And he's putting himself in a prominent position. Amos 5 and 10. They hate him that rebuketh in the gate, and they abhor him that speaketh uprightly. So let's go back to 2 Samuel 15. 2 Samuel chapter 15 and verse 3. Verse 2 again. It says, and Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. So this is where the judges and the officers should be. Absalom's there. You make sure you got up early. Probably make sure you get in the right position. And he's coming with a bunch of men. So he's making himself look real good. Like, you got to picture it. He's coming through. He's already a handsome dude. He's well known. He's David's son. He's getting there before everybody else. And he's putting himself in the position like he's the leader. Like he's a judge. And Absalom rose up early and stood beside the way of the gate. And it was so that when any man had a controversy, came to the king for judgment. So if anyone came to the king to have a judgment over one of the controversies, basically a lawsuit, then Absalom called unto him. Absalom intercepted him and said, of what city art thou? And he said, thy servant is one of the tribes of Israel. Verse 3. And Absalom said unto him, see, thy matters are good and right. See, this man he just got one side of the story, and he's immediately judging matters just based on, what you just said. Man, that sounds good. Man, you are definitely right. People want to hear that. Wicked Israelites want to hear that. Let me get that real quick. They want their behinds kissed. They don't want just judgment. They want their behinds kissed. Isaiah 30 in verse 8. And it reads, verse 9 actually. Isaiah 30 verse 9. That this is a rebellious people, lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not. So the seers, that's another word for a prophet. And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things. Our people, because of their rebelliousness, do not want to hear correct things. We don't want to hear what's right. It says, prophesy, it says, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. So we'd rather be lied to. We'd rather be lied to. I'm going to go back. 2 Samuel chapter 15 in verse 3 again. Sorry, y'all. This camera is bothering me. I thought it'd be a lot smoother than that. It says, and Absalom said unto him, see, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. It says, now, when you read some commentaries about this, they said that's probably a lie, because David was well ordered. David put things in place. This is the kingdom of heaven. There's things that happen where certain judgments didn't go down with Amnon, but you know, King David didn't just have like a big gaping hole there where people should have got judged. In the previous chapter, he dealt with a sister one-on-one that was sent by Joab. Let me get something real quick just to prove that. 2 Samuel chapter 14, verse 4. It says, and when the woman of Tekoa spake to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and did obeisance, and said, help, O king. And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, I am indeed a widow woman, and my husband is dead. So the king gave her the time of day. So it wasn't like there wasn't nobody judging anybody. Absalom is lying. Absalom is making things worse. He's criticizing the king. And it's more than murmuring, because he has a position over people. He's of royal lineage. So when he does murmuring, it's more like sowing discord. It's something Captain Gedaliah dropped on some of the men recently. There's three levels. I don't want to say it wrong. Three levels to it. You have a complaint. Complaints go up. That's why there's a complaint form in the schools. There should be a complaint form. You have a complaint. The complaint will go up to your leadership, the upper leadership. Even at your job, if you have a complaint, there's an HR department. Things will go up. Things will go up. Things will go up. And then they'll make a decision if things need to change, if this needs to be investigated further. So that's a complaint. Complaints go up to the people that can do something about it. All right, so that's a complaint. When you talk to the people that are your peers, side to side, the guys on your level, your soldier, you're talking to the soldiers, your officer, you're talking to another officer of 10, so on and so forth. That's murmuring. What can the dude next to you do? Especially if it's a matter concerning something above both of you. That's murmuring. Like, what can that person do for you? How can he help? No, you can't. You're complaining, and that's murmuring. That's side to side. Then when you go down, you have a subordinate, someone beneath you, below you, and you start bringing out issues you have with the people that are up top. That is called sowing discord. It's very similar to murmuring, and it's a complaint. But now you have influence over those people, and you can control people that way and divide people from other people and gain to yourself followers. You'll see all these attributes in Absalom. He does all these things. But he doesn't take his complaints up to the top. The things he does, he criticizes the leadership. He criticizes his father and causes a great number of stupid people, dumb dummies, to follow him. A great number of them. Verse 4. So again, verse 3, not true. It's in verse 3, and Absalom said unto him, see, thy matters are good and right, but there is no man deputed of the king to hear thee. Man, deputed mean there's no one assigned to hear your case. I'll take the case. I'll do it. Watch this. Verse 4. Absalom said, moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land. That old BS. You know how people talk. Oh, that I were made judge in the land. Now, you might hear that in the congregation. Man, if I was officer of 50. Man, if I was over the school. Man, if I was captain. If I was the bishop. You hear that. That's the Absalom spirit. And you've heard it. You probably heard. Most people tuned in done heard that thing. If you congregate. They'll, especially if you don't. Hell, if you don't congregate and you go on the internet, you'll see the same level of criticism. People that have never gotten off their dusty couch have everything to say about the leadership of IUIC. What they would do and how they would teach and what we should wear. And I wouldn't wear purple, or I wouldn't go to this street corner. Hey, fool, you've never left the couch. You just criticize them. Verse 5. Verse 4, let me finish that. Absalom said, moreover, oh, that I were made judge in the land, that every man which hath any suit or cause might come unto me, and I would do him justice. He said, I would do justice. I don't know what the hell been going on here thus far. Y'all been getting taken advantage of. That's basically what he's saying. But if I was in charge, man, y'all, things would be so much better. That's evil. That's evil as hell. Watch this. I'm going to go to Sirach. And you wouldn't fall for it if you had wisdom. As we read down, you'll see only fools fall for this. I'm going to go to Sirach 11. Don't want to go there now? No. I'm going to Sirach 7 first. Sirach 7. Sirach chapter 7 and verse 4. Seek not of the Lord preeminence, neither of the king the seat of honor. So don't be trying to get superiority. That preeminence is superiority. Preeminence is fame. Don't go to the Lord for that. Don't go to the Lord to be superior over it. That's what the white man does. He wants to be a white supremacist. You want to be a black supremacist? We ain't black supremacists. We are the Israelites, the Bible speaks of. We just want to be us. But if you want to be supreme over somebody, then you are a black supremacist. You want to be supreme over other black people. You want to just... I'll tell you, I ain't coming to this truth to tell black people what to do. I've never wanted to do that. That is a struggle to tell black people what to do. That is not... I can't wait to go tell... Man, please. They will hate you and eventually kill you. Who wants that job? Unless you want fame that comes from being over people. You want the money that comes from being over people. You want the women, whatever, the influence, social media accounts, and a lot of likes. That's what you're after. And God says don't do that. It says seek not of the Lord preeminence. Don't seek superiority or fame. Neither of the king the seat of honor. Justify not thyself before the Lord, and boast not of thy wisdom before the king. So don't brag on yourself. Like the brother, there was the two men that were praying. I think it's in the Gospels. Where it is escapes me right now. But the one brother, he just bragged about all the times he fasted. So I fast twice in the week, and blah blah blah. Then the other dude was just humble. He just said, "Lord, just have mercy upon me, a sinner." And it was the man that was humble that was justified, not the dude that was just running his mouth about all that he's ever done, what he's done for this, and what I've done for the Lord. That's not the spirit rolling, that's pride. Verse 6. Seek not to be judged. Don't seek to be judged. Why are you asking for tests? Brothers be on air. Can I get the officers 10 tests? Am I going to get the 50 tests this year? It's like, why are you asking for that? These roles are judges. God says, seek not to be judged. As soon as we hear that, we know something's wrong with you. It says, seek not to be judged. If you want to be judged, something wrong with you. You should be very fearful to be put in that position, because God going to hold you accountable for the judgments you give. Seek not to be judged, being not able to take away iniquity, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty. That's what happened. Because you went after power and obtained it by evil means, because God didn't give it to you, you're going to start to maintain your power, keep your power by doing evil things that God, because you don't have God backing you up. So God will take this thing away from you. You're like, all right, well, God going to take this from me. I need to find a way to keep my power. I'll respect people's persons. I'll let him get away with this, and I'll let him get away with that. I'll take bribes. I'll take a gift. It says, lest at any time thou fear the person of the mighty, and lay a stumbling block in the way of thy uprightness. So, you obtain that authority, and you do it without the Lord, you set yourself up for failure. You put stumbling blocks in your own path to the kingdom, because you made it about you and the power you desire. From there, we want to go to, and that's what we was reading in Deuteronomy, where it says you should not give gifts, etc. Let's see. I want to go to Proverbs 19:6. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 6. It says, many will entreat the favor of the prince, and every man is a friend to him that giveth gifts. So gift givers got plenty of friends. That was Absalom. Throw a picture back up there. I'm gonna mess with this camera one more time, y'all. I can't describe how much it bothers me. But Absalom gave gifts. He's the type of guy. I don't know if you remember Caesar from Planet of the Apes. He's giving out cookies and stuff. Like he knew he had to. Like these are some, that movie's a parable for black people. Us waking up. He knew he had to give them something, because they're not just gonna follow you. He's like, I'm gonna have to get you to do something. They are not just gonna follow me. So they get Caesar, the monkey, the main monkey, gave out cookies. That's what these people do. It says 19:6 again. Many will entreat the favor of the prince, and every man is a friend to him that giveth gifts. So you get friends if you give out gifts. You get friends if you show respect to person. You get gifts. You get friends if you take bribes, wrest judgment. You'll be very popular, and God will hate you. But people will love you. But God will hate you. But people will love you. But God will hate you. For Isaiah 1:23. Let's watch what happens when God hates you. Isaiah 1:23. Because we had that. Oh, it overspread throughout our whole kingdom. It's early indicator. Well, I mean, it goes all the way back to Moses, but we're during the time of David. We got people doing this, and it leads up to this in Isaiah 1:23. It says, "Thy princes are rebellious, and companions of thieves. Everyone loveth gifts." So they all love gifts, and followeth after rewards. They are motivated by what they can obtain. They're motivated by what they can obtain. They judge not the fatherless, neither doth the cause of the widow come unto them. It said, these people, they don't judge the fatherless. They don't do what they're supposed to do. They don't move how they're supposed to move. They don't judge the fatherless, etc. They don't take care of the widows. They're more about pomp, circumstance, parades, greetings in the marketplaces like the Pharisees, looking good. That's your black leaders today. That's your black pastors. They rest judgment. They rest judgment so bad in the Christian church. Their doctrine is to twist judgment. Their doctrine is do not judge. That's how bad our people twist judgment now. They just say don't judge. They got videos out where they're like, they be confessing to abortions and stuff. Don't ask me what channel it is. It's like a sister be up there be like, I had 3 abortions. And they said, we listen, we don't judge. I have 4 abortions. And everybody chants, we listen, we don't judge. It's like, y'all evil as hell. That's how bad the changing of judgment is. Where it's like, just don't judge. Let people tell you how evil. It makes them feel good to express their evil. And then everybody's like, we're not going to judge you for that. That's some evil stuff. We're going to go to 2 Chronicles 19:5. 2 Chronicles chapter 19, verse 5, it says, "And he set judges in the land throughout all the fenced cities of Judah, city by city." So this is what's supposed to be going on. Judges throughout all the land. "And said to the judges, Take heed what ye do, for ye judge not for man, but for the Lord, who is with you in the judgment." So that's what you got to keep in mind. Absalom did not this. Absalom didn't do this. Absalom judged for himself. Because everybody walked up to him. Stamp of approval. Stamp of approval. Verse 7. "Wherefore now let the fear of the Lord be upon you. Take heed and do it. For there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, nor respect of persons, nor taking of gifts." So if you are godly, you don't take gifts, because God don't take gifts. If you're godly, you don't respect persons, because God don't respect persons. Don't get that confused with respect to Israel. God does respect Israel. Let me get that real quick. Somebody be confused. Exodus 4:22, if I'm not mistaken. Don't be confused. Christianity. It's talking about respect of persons in judgment. Israel sinned, Israel got punished. The heathen sinned, the heathen get punished. But God loves Israel more than the heathen. Our punishment is not for our destruction. Our punishment is for our repentance. The heathen's punishment is so that they're annihilated and you don't even remember their ass. That's what the heathen's punishment is. It says, is that it? Exodus 4. That's his firstborn. I'll read this. It says, I don't think this is what I want though. Exodus 4:22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. Yeah, that's not the one I want. I want the one, give me a sec. Exodus 2:25. Close. Exodus chapter 2, verse 25. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. That's the one I want. And God looked upon his firstborn, the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. So God had respect to the children of Israel. That's not the same thing as respect of persons. Because we got judged. Our whole nation got judged. That's what we go on the street and teach that. We teach that we were judged. It's the greatest tool we have is Deuteronomy 28. One of the greatest tools. Our judgment. It's going to cause us to be to repent as well. So I'll go back to 2 Chronicles. I think I finished that. Let me make sure. 2 Chronicles 19. Second Chronicles chapter 19 and verse 7 again. Wherefore now let the fear of the Lord be upon you. Take heed and do it. For there is no iniquity with the Lord our God. God don't sin. Nor respect of persons. God don't respect persons in judgment. He'll judge anybody. He'll judge the world. It says, nor taking of gifts. Now that's not the sacrifices. There's no gift you can give God to change his judgment. Even though you may repent. There's still a judgment sometimes. Sacrifices offered, whatever. There's still a judgment that'll come. In the last days, your books will be open. Despite all the apologies. David, he repented. And, there's still forms of judgment that happened to him. What we're reading with Absalom is a form of judgment for some of David's treachery. You never get away from the Lord's judgment. You don't respect persons. I'm reading verse 8. It says, moreover, in Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat, so I'm in the future now, did Jehoshaphat set the Levites and of the priests and of the chief of the fathers of Israel for the judgment of the Lord and for controversies when they returned to Jerusalem. And he charged them, saying, thus shall ye do in the fear of the Lord faithfully and with a perfect heart. And what cause soever shall come to you of your brethren that dwell in their cities, between blood and blood, this is black people and Hispanics, between law and commandment, statutes and judgments, ye shall even warn them that they trespass not against the Lord, and so wrath come upon you and upon your brethren. This do, and ye shall not trespass. That's not Absalom. He ain't do none of that. Many Israelite leaders, no northern kingdom leader did that. All the northern kingdom kings were off. But Absalom, the son of David, that's not why he was standing in the gate. We have to learn these lessons as well as the judges that we are, as Israel, you men, you judges. In your households first, and then for the congregation, if the Lord see fit. You don't judge for yourself. You cannot be emotional. If you're emotional, you can't be a judge. You can't be no officer, you're emotional. How you going to be just pouting and stuff? Holding grudges against people and be a judge. You'll act upon your wrath according to your wrath from someone else. You mad, you got an offense, you never dealt with it. Now you're going to start judging and poking and prodding at this one person because you have the ability to do so, because you're emotional. We can't be like that. That's what we read by Absalom. All right, so going back, 2 Samuel 15, now we're at verse 6. And on this manner did Absalom, wild time passed by fast. It says, and on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. Oh, wait, I think I skipped verse 5. Let me go to verse 5. It says, and it was so that when any man came nigh to him to do him obeisance, he put forth his hand and took him and kissed him. So he's kissing people's behinds, kissing hands. And on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. So he stole their minds. He destroyed them. I'm going to go to Romans 16. I pulled this last class about Absalom. Romans 16 and 17. I'll start 17. It says, now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses, contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them. So you have to be aware of what people are bringing to you. People are coming to you with doctrines. Avoid them. Mark them. Point them out. Judge. You're going to have to judge. Like, this person's saying something I didn't learn. I need to stay away from them. Verse 18. For they that are such serve not our Lord Jesus Christ, but their own belly. That's Absalom. He didn't serve Christ. He didn't serve David. He served his own stomach, his own desires and lusts. That's what it means by your belly. So some people, it's literally your stomach. If you're a Lord ass, it's literally your stomach you worship. You worship your tummy. It says, and by good words, this is the point I want, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. And by good words and fair speeches. You got to watch people that are really good with words. But then they're not saying anything biblical. So how many scriptures this person pulled while he was talking? None? Why am I listening to him so much? It says, and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. You stupid. You got to also be aware, am I stupid? Am I dumb in the scriptures? Do I not study? I don't need to be around people that are persuasive like this. I'll be their underling. I need to go somewhere and sit down and study. It's like, if you know you don't know nothing, I hope I'm not being offensive. I probably am. But if examine yourself. If you know you don't know nothing, if you scared of tests, if you scared of someone asking you questions, in the body, like, you wouldn't go you terrified to go out on the street and teach. Don't be all in somebody's face and want to join a clique, want to be in a group. You dum-dum number 3. He's collecting dum-dums. And that's what we're about to read here. Don't be dum-dum number 3. He's going to have use of you. He's going to use you as cannon fodder as he comes against leadership. You just came in the door yesterday. Understand, if you've been here like less than a year, and then you got like this one guy trying to take you under his wing, he always in trouble, but he got fair speeches. He might look good. He might, be jacked. He's the big dude in the congregation. He might even wear a purple shirt. He might have rank, but he don't really vibe with the leadership like that. He always murmuring to you. Oh, I'm sorry. He's always venting to you. Ah, man, just like I keep getting into it with Officer Saul. I keep getting into Officer Saul. And, Officer Saul always trying to come at me, man. It's like, you got to ask yourself, you don't got no rank. Why are you listening to a conversation that got nothing to do with you? What can you do with the information being presented to you? That's how you know if you dumb or not. If you're a dum-dum. It's like, why am I listening to something I can't do nothing about? Oh, no. I'm his dum-dum. Watch this. Here's some help. Sirach 11. I'm being humorous. But for real, this stuff happens all the time. Sirach 11. I'm going to pick up where we left off in Sirach 11. In verse 6 again. It says, many mighty men have been greatly disgraced, and the honorable delivered into other man's hands. Verse 7. Blame not before thou hast examined the truth. So, you have to first look at the evidence of something. When you examine the truth in counsels, like for example, marriage counsel, you don't give marriage counsel to one person. We don't just take the woman's word for it. And we don't just take the man's word for it. Marriage counsel is both parties. If there was also, let's say someone got robbed in the body, we'd have to talk to both people. Both the thief, the accused thief, and the person that suffered the thievery, that lost the object. We wouldn't just talk to the person that lost the object, because they would be like just pointing fingers. They'd be emotional. Like, he did it. And they were like, hey, they said you did it. No, you got to go and be like, hey, were you here? Do you have the object? Do you have the thing? You have that person's phone? You got to go and be just. So watch this. It says, blame not before thou hast examined the truth. Understand first and then rebuke. Answer not before thou hast heard the cause. That's what you saw Absalom doing. He didn't even hear the cause. He was answering. It says, and neither interrupt men in the midst of their talk. So let men finish. It says, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not. Now that's heavy. Because why are you being brought into a Matthew 18? And it's like step 1. And they're coming to you first. They're like, yeah, I'm about to apply Matthew 18 with sons. Like, what are you telling me this for? Go talk to them. You don't need to run it past me. Who am I? It says go to him and him alone. But often, and it's rank men that do this. They'll come to you first. Like, I shouldn't even know about your Matthew 18. You're supposed to settle that over here. Because you come to me about your side of the Matthew 18. Now I have a different thought about the person. I'm like, man, this dude said such and such to him. Well, that wasn't very nice. It was like, why do I even know that? So me having wisdom, I gotta be like, hey, shh, don't come tell me that. Go deal with him. Because sometimes it's an accident, but sometimes they're doing that on purpose to win you over because they see you as a dum-dum. They see you as a dummy. And people collect dummies. Verse 9, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not. Stay out of it. People was talking about different stuff that happened. I remember 2018. Blah, blah, blah. Brothers talking about Texas. Like, so at that time, I hadn't even been to Texas. I'm like, why am I talking to you? I'm not talking to you about Texas. I don't care about Texas. That's Texas. I'm in North Carolina. We can talk about North Carolina stuff. And not even all North Carolina. This is like, I'm in this part of North Carolina. And there's another part of North Carolina. I'm not over there to judge matters. Unless somebody brings something to me, and then that's different. But you're not going to bring me some gossip, and then I'm sitting here making judgments about gossip. Men were dropping 3-hour videos. I'm talking these videos, people watch, like videos the length of all 3 John Wick movies. Is it 4 of them? All 4 John Wick movies. And they're videos, and people are watching these videos. And there's a whole bunch of not mind your damn business. And he's like, you think you ain't going to be judged for that? Like, God said, mind your business. Right here, it says, strive not in a matter that concerneth thee not. A demon jump off them damn videos on your head. Now you stupid. A demon just jump right out of the video. Like the actual, what's the movie? The Ring. And then the thing just on your face. Sucked your soul out. Yeah, you shouldn't have watched it. You shouldn't have watched it. You want to watch a 3-hour video. I did not watch those things. Like, that's stupid. He said, bruh, if you watch this video, man, you're going to bug out. Why the hell am I watching it then? I don't want to bug out. It says, and sit not in judgment with sinners. My son, meddle not with many matters. Don't be in all these different businesses. That was Absalom. And that was the dummies that followed Absalom. Absalom is criticizing the king. That's what I want to go to next. Absalom is criticizing the king. I'm going to get a bunch of precepts on that in a little bit of time I got left. It says, my son, meddle not with many matters. For thou meddle much, thou shalt not be innocent. And if thou follow after, thou shalt not obtain, neither shalt thou escape by fleeing. So you will be found judged by these things. If you meddle much, you're going to be in trouble. And you will not escape the trouble that you're going to be in. That's what it's talking about. Watch this. I'm going to go from there. Let me skip around. 1 Chronicles 16:22. First Chronicles 16:22, and it reads, saying, touch not mine anointed, and do my prophets no harm. So God's instructions are to touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm. Watch this. And that's talking directly about Absalom and his father David. He know his father's the Lord's anointed. Watch this. It's 1 Samuel 24:6. First Samuel 24:6. And he said unto his men, the Lord forbid that I should do this thing unto my master, the Lord's anointed, to stretch forth my hand against him, seeing he is the anointed of the Lord. Now this is David speaking about Saul. David understood this. This is a lesson that definitely Absalom should receive from his father. David understood Saul was the Lord's anointed. So he knew there's judgment for going against him. So David was very peaceable towards Saul as much as he could. Saul's trying to kill the dude. Now watch this. So that's just showing, don't touch mine anointed. 1 Chronicles 17 and 1 Chronicles 11 and 3. First Chronicles chapter 11 verse 3. Therefore came all the elders of Israel to the king to Hebron, and David made a covenant with them in Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel. That's the Lord's anointed. They anointed David king over Israel, according to the word of the Lord by Samuel. Don't touch this man. He's the Lord's anointed. He's the anointed king. First Chronicles 17:17. And yet this was a small thing in thine eyes, O God, for thou hast also spoken of thy servant's house for a great while to come, and hast regarded me. Now this is David speaking about how God describes him. Listen to what David says about how God describes him. It says, and has regarded me according to the estate of a man of high degree, O Lord God. David said that God said he a high value man. That's a high value man. God found him to be of high degree. And we're going to gossip about this man. I'm going to follow his dumb son as he criticizes David. That's touching the Lord's anointed. No wonder you get judged for that. Verse 18, it says, what can David speak more to thee for the honor of thy servant? For thou knowest thy servant. O Lord, for thy servant's sake and according to thine own heart hast thou done all this greatness in making known all these great things. O Lord, there is none like thee, neither is there any God beside thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And what one nation in the earth is like thy people Israel, whom God went to redeem to be his own people. No one's like Israel. Now, at that time, we had the kingdom. All Israel should have understood this. There's no people like Israel. And we like that thing. We like being God's only chosen people. He says, whom God went to redeem to be his own people, to make thee a name of greatness and terribleness, by driving out nations from before thy people, whom thou hast redeemed out of Egypt. For thy people Israel didst thou make thine own people forever. We like that thing. They like that thing at that time. We are God's people forever. But watch this. And thou, Lord, becamest their God. Therefore now, Lord, let the thing that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant, meaning David, and concerning his house, be established forever, and do as thou hast said. Let it even be established, that thy name may be magnified forever, saying, the Lord of hosts is the God of Israel, even a God to Israel. We all understand that. At that time, all Israel understand this is the God of Israel. Yay, this is the God of Israel. It says, and let the house of David thy servant be established before thee. Now, don't nobody want to do that, though. That means you can't touch the house of David. That means David stay king. David's kingdom is supposed to be there forever. So, David, if you have that understanding, would you let people criticize David? David and his house are tied to the fact that Israel is God's chosen people. They're like one and the same. You can't do without the other. So it's like if we God's chosen people and they ain't getting broken, David's house is going to be established. Established means set up forever. That's what the word established means. So when you have that frame of mind, it's like, you ain't going to talk about David. You might as well be talking about all Israel. You ain't going to talk about David. You talking about God. You're going to mess everything up. David's house is established forever. Kill him. That's what it's supposed to. Kill that guy that said that. That's what's supposed to go down. Somebody kill this dude. Watch this. I'm going to go back. 609. Yep. Let's go back to 2 Samuel 15 and 12. Second Samuel chapter 15. I'm saying 12, but I didn't get down that far. I'm at verse 6. It says, and on this manner did Absalom to all Israel that came to the king for judgment. So Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Israel. So that's what I was covering. Good words and fair speeches. Absalom stole the hearts of the simple, stupid people that didn't know anything that we just read. They didn't understand the basics of David's the Lord's anointed. You can't just talk about him. Let me get Exodus, I think it's 22:18. Let me see if that's it. 22:28. Watch this. Exodus chapter 22, verse 28. Thou shalt not revile the gods. It's lowercase g. That's the judges. That's your leadership. Thou shalt not revile the gods. That's the people sitting in the gates. That's King David. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people. You can't say nothing about David. And saying, I think later on in this chapter, somebody's going to curse. Later on in this chapter. Yeah. Next chapter, I think. 16. There's a man that's going to curse David. But if you have wisdom, you can't do that. 2 Samuel chapter 15 again, verse 7 this time. And it came to pass after 40 years, that's a long time, that Absalom said unto the king, I pray thee, let me go and pay my vow, which I have vowed unto the Lord in Hebron. For thy servant vowed a vow. So, going back to the 40, That's a long time to be wicked as hell, stirring up the pot, gathering people to you. You have many years to build a following. That's what people do. They'll sit there, embedded in the body, building a following for themselves. That's what the murmuring. That's what the. It's not going to happen quickly. That's what you got to watch. Some people got to watch. You can't even attack the problem. You might hear about the murmuring, but they're just going to say, I didn't say it. But it is planting seeds. And what we're going to read about is that all these seeds planted come to fruition at one time from a signal. It says, verse 8, for thy servant vowed a vow while I abode in Geshur in Syria. Remember Absalom, well, if you've seen my last class, Absalom, when he fled, he went to his mother's people. He went off. He was gone for 3 years. Who knows what went on in his mind when he was there? So he's talking about, I vowed a vow when I was over there in Geshur, in Syria. Saying, if the Lord shall, all this is deceit though. All this is deceitful. It says, saying, if the Lord shall bring me again indeed to Jerusalem, then I will serve the Lord. Remember, he didn't even want to come. I'm going to jump back. This is how you know it's deceit. Go back another chapter. He didn't even want to come when he talked to Joab. Chapter 14, verse 32. It says, and Absalom answered Joab, behold, I sent unto thee, saying, come hither, that I may send thee to the king to say, wherefore am I come from Geshur? It had been good for me to have been there still. So he's lying. What are you talking about? He vowed, I don't want to come back. He just told Joab, man, I've been better off still staying there. He didn't want to come back. Let me go back to verse 2 Samuel 15 and 9. And the king said unto him, go in peace. So he arose and went to Hebron. So the king gave him permission to move. It says, but Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, as soon as ye hear the sound of the trumpet, then ye shall say, Absalom reigneth in Hebron. So there it is. There's all those years of planning. I'm going to embed people all over here, and they're all stupid. These are the dumbest people I could find. They follow me, and I'm going to stick them all around here and over here. And then when this trumpet blow, and you know, it's probably not just one trumpet. It's probably just a signal. And everybody's going to pop up that knows. Because those people he embedded, they're training those dummies around them. This is the signal. All right? This is why we're doing it. We hate David. And Absalom's going to take care of us. On 3. Verse 11. And with Absalom went 200 men out of Jerusalem that were called. And they went in their simplicity, and they knew not anything. That is hilarious. That's a hilarious verse. Let me read it again. And with Absalom went 200 men. So he had 200 men that followed him out of Jerusalem that were called. And they went in their simplicity. You simpletons. And they knew not anything. They're dummies. It's a whole bunch of dummies. 200 dummies came out of that thing. Oh, that's some funny stuff right there. And Absalom sent for Ahithophel, the Gileonite, David's counselor, from his city, even from Gilo, while he offered sacrifices. And the conspiracy was strong. So that's what is going on here. This is a conspiracy. It takes time for that. It's recruitment. Recruitment is up. This conspiracy is strong. Now he's going after David's counselor, Ahithophel, which he's covered more in the chapters to come. Lord's will, I'm going to deal with that too next week, if the Lord spare my life. Because it's a lot to cover. You don't want to go too fast. But Ahithophel, he a jerk. He playing both sides of the coin. He gets pulled into the conspiracy against David. It says, verse 13, and there came a messenger to David saying, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. It says, and David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, arise and let us flee, for we shall not escape from Absalom. So it's like, man, we in a bad state. David in the lowest state. Man, we got to go. We got to run. The people popping up every week. We can only imagine. These people just, like, remember 2018? Those of you that were here, it's just like, this person left the chat. This person left the chat. It looked funny for a while. It looked a little dicey. But if you believe in God, you ain't go nowhere. If you believe in God, you know that, and people are kind of stupid while they leaving. What did they leave for? I don't even really remember what was the doctrine. Was it the dark moon? If you remember the doctrine, post it in the chat. I don't remember the doctrine everybody left for. Was it the Sabbath? It's something with the Sabbath. The Sabbath starts in the daytime. or the Sabbath ain't on Saturday. I barely remember why people was leaving. It was something about the Sabbath. It's like it was one dummy, and he put out a dumb video, and it's like 100 dummies following him. And it was like the stupidest thing ever. Because it's something about the Sabbath was more convenient the way they were doing it. But they weren't keeping the Sabbath. Then they started eating mashed potatoes and stuff on Passover. That's all I can remember. Milkshakes and mashed potatoes and shepherd's pie on Passover and some microwave pizzas. Something with food. Something with food and breaking the Sabbath. And everybody just ran. It's like, you all stupid. You all stupid. But at the time, it was like, man, there's a whole lot of stupid people rising up. It's like, dang, it seemed like this, everything's falling apart, but it wasn't. So David's like, man, we got to get out of here. It looks like everything's falling apart. This guy's got a lot of followers. He's had a lot of time to devise his plan. Verse 14 again. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, arise and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly, and bring evil upon us, and smite the city with the edge of the sword. And the king's servant said unto the king, behold, thy servants are ready to do whatsoever my lord the king shall appoint. And the king went forth, and all his household after him. And the king left 10 women, which were concubines, to keep the house. So these are lesser wives. He left them behind. Hey, just watch over the palace. We out, though. We got to go. Verse 17. And the king went forth, and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. And all his servants passed on beside him. So these are the armies among you. Oh, there's somebody posted. Morning to morning Sabbath. I forgot about that. It even had a little catchy name. Morning to morning Sabbath. You stupid dummies. Who keeping that now? Who's keeping that now? Who's tracking that now? Morning to morning. I remember that was like, it was all over social media. I don't even remember it. I think it was more than that too. It's something else with baptism. People get baptized in hotel swimming pools. No lie, it was like a hotel swimming pool. People was getting baptized. Talk about ride the wave. I'm like, why? Why? You smoke crack, don't you? You know, it's that type of stuff. Like, what y'all doing over there? And I think they started smoking weed too, and carrying guns. It was the craziest thing. But at the time, it's like, oh, it's very stressful at the time. But now in hindsight, it's like, those some dumbass people. Excuse my language. Those are stupid people. They don't know nothing, and that's the people that were getting targeted. When it turns out, because I was back then, people were getting emails. People were sending people's wives. Men were sending other men's wives emails to get them to defect. That's the kind of stuff that Absalom had going on here. In women's inboxes. That's the main people you get. You can get a woman. Women that don't study. Not y'all that's on here. Y'all studying. There's some sisters that don't study. There's some sisters that their husband is like, hey, we're going to be in this truth. And she's like, all right. I ain't going to do nothing. And then they don't know nothing. And Esau knows that's who to target. That's who vocab inboxes. That's who the other camps inbox. That's who the defectors that are sewn in here. And that's Ahithophel. Ahithophel is a defector. Let me get that 1 John 2. Ahithophel, the counsel of David, he's a defector. And it talks about defectors. 1 John chapter 2, 19. They went out from us, but they were not of us. It's like they left, but they were never with us. It says, for if they had been of us, they would have no doubt continued with us. That's how we know they weren't with us. If you were with us, you'd still be here. But it's the sheer fact that you're not here is the proof that you were never here. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not all of us. That's how God has this thing wired. They will leave because they were never with us. They will leave just to show you who wasn't with you in the first place. Then you'll have a record. You'll have a living example of a dummy. And you can watch for new dummies that come through. Because all this discord and stuff getting sold, gossiping. And you be able to go back. Like I can reference what happened back then. I can reference what happened before then. Some of the things you go through is not to break you. It's to teach you. You deal with unrighteous people. It's like some people deal with somebody that's unrighteous and just go throw their hands in there. Oh, God, I'm leaving. And they just leave. It's like, no, you dummy. You were supposed to learn something from that so that you could help the body one day identify that spirit. You're supposed to overcome that thing, endure, and then you'll be able to teach many. But especially you brothers that fall for that and then get emotional and leave. You missed the whole point. You're supposed to learn a lesson from that. We've been through a lot in this truth. And it's so that the people that come in next, who are greater than us, the people that come in after us may be Moses. People that come in after us may be, like all the Marys, the foremothers, different prophets, Habakkuk, Samuel himself. These are people that's going to come in later. As time gets closer to the end, the more powerful people are going to come back on this earth. And we're learning lessons to make sure that the sanctuaries are ready to receive them. Stop thinking so much about yourself, living in the moment. You ain't really nothing like that. You're an Israelite, you're a chosen of God, but the people that come after you are way better than you. And everything you're going through, you're learning so that you establish a safe place for them to come dwell, so they can be built up and help deliver God's chosen people, so that we can have the kingdom again. Let me go ahead and go back to scriptures. I'm talking. 1 Samuel 15, and we're at 17. 1 Samuel 15 to 17. And the king went forth, all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. And all his servants passed on beside him, and all the Cherethites, and all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites, 600 men, which came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. And then said the king to Attai, the Gittite, Wherefore goest thou? Wherefore goest thou also with us? So he said to Attai, why are you going with us? He said, Return to thy place and abide with the king. Speaking of Absalom. David speaking of Absalom, saying, hey, that's the new king. Why are you here? It's too dangerous. You go over there. He says, For thou art a stranger and also an exile. He said, you're exiled from the place you were. He said, you're new here. Basically, he's saying you're new here. He says, Whereas thou camest but yesterday. You're new here. He says, Should I this day make thee go up and down with us? Seeing I go whither I may, return thou, and take back thy brethren mercy, and truth be with thee. He's like, hey, go back, be safe, go. You don't need to be involved in this. You just got here. And it says, And Ty answered the king and said, As the Lord liveth, and as my lord the king liveth, surely in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be. And David said, that dude ride or die. And David said to Attai, Go and pass over. And Attai, the Gittite, passed over. Now, Gittite's not a nationality. That's a place. He's a resident of that place. It's like Uriah the Hittite and different people. People are like, oh, he's a Gittite. Nah, he's a resident of that place. He says, passed over, and all his men, and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness. And lo, let's see what time we got on here. 5 minutes. I'm going to stop it in a second. I'm going to read down a little bit. Verse 24. And lo, Zadok also. Now, Zadok was a priest. I'm going to jump to verse 27 to show you that. Verse 27. 1 Kings 15:27. I'm sorry, 2 Samuel 15:27. The king said also to Zadok the priest. So there he is. He's a priest. Going back, verse 24. And lo, Zadok also, and all the Levites were with him. He's a priest. Bearing the ark of the covenant of God, they set down the ark of God, and Abiathar went up until all the people had done passing out of the city. And the king said to Zadok, Carry back the ark of God into the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he will bring me again and show me both it and his habitation. So he said, take the ark back to Jerusalem. I'm hiding out here in the wilderness. If the Lord have mercy upon me, I'll be able to see the ark again. I'll be able to see the city again. But just get out of here. Take that. He's really being selfless. David's really accepting what's going on. He's like, hey, y'all get out of here. Y'all get out of here. I'm gonna deal with the Lord's judgment. Watch this. Verse 26. He says, But if he does say, I have no delight in thee, meaning David's saying, if the Lord say he don't delight in him, behold, here am I. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. David's a mighty man. He said, the Lord, because he's in a very low state. As we read on, when David allows it, I ran out of time messing with his camera. But, a man comes and curses David. And David accepts the curse because basically he's like, look what my own son did against me. Let that man curse. God must have sent him there to curse me. Look how David's low. You gonna read on as we read on. David out there barefoot, y'all. He in a low state. He out there barefoot. His kid, there's nothing. Just a very painful thing. Me, I had a son turn on me in this truth, so I already know how that feels. My oldest son, he left for a Puerto Rican girl, and yes, she Puerto Rican until she repents. She Puerto Rican. She ain't eat from yet. He ran out of here. First little piece of tail you see, you gonna run out of here. It ain't nothing. That thing break your heart. So David, he heartbroken. Verse 27. The king said also unto Zadok the priest, art not thou a seer? Return into the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahinanaz thy son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. See, I tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. So I'm going to wait out here in the wilderness until I hear from y'all. Zadok, therefore, and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. So they went back with the ark to Jerusalem. And David went up by the ascent of the Mount Olivet and wept as he went up. So he crying. And he had his head covered. And he went barefoot. So, man, he in a bad state right now. And all the people that was with him covered every man his head. And they went up, weeping as they went up. And one told David, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. So David's getting all the bad news. He's like, man, my trusted counselor, he's among them. It says, and David said, O Lord, I pray thee, turn the counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness. So he prayed against that dude. So please turn his counsel into foolishness. Dang, there's a couple precepts I want to get. Real quick, I'm going to go back to where it said, verse 26. This is David again speaking about God dealing with him. He says, but if he does say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here am I. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. I'm going to go to, I think, 2 Chronicles 21. Is that what I want? 1 Chronicles 21. Yep. Listen to this. That was the groundwork for what we're going to read here. 1 Samuel 21, verse 1. And Satan stood up against Israel and provoked David to number Israel, which is a sin. Verse 8. And David said unto God, I have sinned greatly because I have done this thing. But now I beseech thee, do away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. Now I'm going to jump down to verse 13. So David acknowledged, hey, that was sin I did. I need to be judged. Watch this. And David said unto Gad, I am now in a great strait. Let me fall now into the hand of the Lord, for very great are his mercies. But let me not fall into the hand of man. So that's how David always got down. He always said, hey, I'd rather the Lord judge me. The Lord could be merciful. Same thing he was saying out there in the wilderness. Let the Lord just deal with me. That's how we got to deal. Instead of fighting for yourself, trying to set yourself up, be like King David. Don't be like Absalom. Don't try to take power. Let the Lord give you mercy. Let the Lord's will be done. That's what he was saying. And then one more, because I'm out of time. But Lord's will, I will finish this up. I'm going to go to Psalms. Where is it? Psalms 5. It's about Ahithophel. We found out Ahithophel, his counselor done turned on him. So I'm going to pray to God on it. Psalms 5 in verse 9. Verse 8. Psalms chapter 5, verse 8. Lead me, O Lord, in thy righteousness because of mine enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. So remember, David barefooted, crying. He out there with the people. They out there weeping. And they're in hiding. It says, for there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulchre, open grave. They flatter with their tongue. That's my son. My son out there flattering with his tongue. Ahithophel, all those people that turned against me, to speak great swelling words, to bring to themselves dumb followers. It says, verse 10, destroy thou them, O God, let them fall by their own counsels. So it says, set up traps, Lord. Let their counsels become traps. It says, cast them out in the multitude of their transgressions, for they have rebelled against thee. It says, but let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. So I'm going to stop right there. Ran out of time. But hey, all praise to the Most High. Lord's will, you pick it up from where I'm leaving off. That was 2 Samuel 15, midway through, dealing with Absalom and the evil of murmuring, the evil of conspiracy. All right. I hope y'all got something out of the class. Lord's will, you did. IUIC Raleigh, subscribe. Get us to 40K. All right. All praises. Booster Club. The QR code is over this direction. That's hard to point to. There it is. Booster Club. Support. All right, y'all. I'm Boss Ray Well, IUIC Raleigh. With that, say shalom. Most High Christ bless you.